Greetings, everybody. It's Brother Ravana Noon back once again with a new video. This video will be dealing with your true self or your real self. How to utilize in the left-hand path, and what the hell is going on with our melanated people in this Black Panther movie. First and foremost, let's deal with the real self. And basically, the real self is something that we think we know, but we don't. The real self is something that already exists within you. It's not something you have to create. It's not something you have to start from anew. It's already within you. It's the latent potentials and qualities that exist within you that we seem not to tap into or forgotten how to tap into. You were born with this potential, this latent qualities, latent powers, and it's there just waiting for the taking. However, what happens is that society in particular does not want to allow or give you the means or mechanisms to activate the true self or the real self. For if you do, you're no longer a slave. That is one of society's biggest tools, is to create mental slaves. Whether you're Black, Puerto Rican, Haitian, Jamaican, African, Nigerian, from Ghana, South Africa, Zimbabwe, they want mental slaves all over this planet. And if I want a mental slave, my biggest objective is never to let you get your hands on tools, mechanisms, or systems that will allow you to wake up. Because the real self is dangerous. You may be asking, Ravana Noon, what do you mean dangerous? Well, first of all, the real self is dangerous for the established church, masjid, synagogue, organized religions, cult groups, so-called spiritual groups. It's dangerous for the state. It's dangerous for the crowd. Dangerous for the tradition. Because once a man knows his real self, or once a woman knows her real self, he or she becomes an individual. That is their fear. You becoming an individual. See, Satuh or Set was demonized in ancient Kemet for becoming an individual. He didn't want to play with the organized religion of that district, that nome or city, or that area of Kemet. He didn't want to fall into some system that was created by the high priest to control the masses of people. Set or Satuh was an individual who thought for himself. And when they came to try to coax him along into getting with the program or to conform into the program, he rebelled. He rebelled against Asar. He rebelled against all the established priesthood. And he told them basically, go kiss my ass. They didn't like that. So they found a way to demonize Set. Satuk throughout history by demonizing him, creating stories of his actions that were basically blown out of proportion. Now, Set Satuk was not real. The mythology is not real. The actions of history behind the mythology are real. When you go through Egyptology and study the history, you will see that there was a time that Set was one of the most beloved gods, but then he was demonized, and he was demonized because foreign rulers came in, and he was associated with foreign rulers. Well, a lot of these foreign rulers came through the desert, which Set was a god of the desert. He was demonized because he was against conformity, or in the mythology, he was against conformity. And in order to control the masses and minds of people, I need everybody to be under the same religion, tradition, system, whatever the hell I'm trying to create, and put you under there. So Set is a perfect example of the real self, the individuated consciousness to stand on, to stand on your own 2 feet, to be the master over your own domain, to dictate what you feel is correct for your living, your existence, your path. Set is that individuated consciousness of control over the self. Individuated consciousness that takes responsibilities for all the ways and actions of yourself. You take responsibility for your successes, take responsibility for your failures. That's Set Satuk. Who else in history would be related to that? Shango. Shango is related to that individuated consciousness of the self. Now, what's interesting is that you have many people who are into Santeria, Lukumi, Ifa, Yoruba, and they as well have been used by the church or the established religion or the tradition. And they get away from the fact that they've been manipulated into worshiping. Literally worshiping. Now you may say, how's that so? No, that's not possible. No, the reality is, my friends, anything is possible. And when anything is possible, you are the fool who can be manipulated so easily that it would make your head spin if you find out exactly what the hell happened to you. It would literally make your head spin if you found out what happened to you. The reason I say that is because when you really understand this, you start to understand that there's a big game being played by these powers that be, whether they're bankers, corporations, whether they're a group of individuals who are the most wealthy. And they feel they can dictate anything to anyone and anybody. So, when you really look at Ifa, Lukumi, Santeria, this is what it's supposed to represent. The Orisha are powers of the Supreme Being, Olodumare. Though I don't believe in the Supreme Being, I believe you as an individual are the Supreme Being who creates their own existence in the physical, mental, spiritual, simultaneously. For the gist of this, I'll go from these notes. The Orisha are powers of the Supreme Being, Olodumare, living within mankind and as natural phenomena. You don't worship the Orisha. Let me say this again. They're living within mankind and as natural phenomena. You don't worship Orisha. You cultivate them within yourself in order to manifest your Ori, Orun, or God self on earth. Mm, mm. Now, individuals are so quick to say, oh, Shun is upset with me because I didn't put out some honey for her and I didn't give her offerings. Nigga, you crazy. I mean, straight up, you male, female, y'all just buffoons. If you really think that Oshun is mad because you didn't put out fruit offerings for her. That's spookism at its finest, and that's what faith and belief and worship gets you. Stuck like Chuck with a mentality that is so enslaved that you think some external being is actually upset with you for what your actions were or weren't. Plain stupidity. Now, there's 16 principles, or some of the most essential principles, that I will run off. Orunmila is the wisdom of the supreme being within, intuition. In Kemet, that would be similar to Tahuti. Obatala is purity, oneness, charity, creativity, consciousness that is cultivated within. Archetype, powers, potentials, characteristics, personalities that exist within you, that all the archetype is serving to do is through that symbolism activate those latent potentials within you. Oshun is the imagination of the source of joy. Images and fashion. Ogun is technological inventiveness, architecture, and discipline. Shango, the freedom of the will, self-defense, exercise. Oya is transformation and economic power. Olokun, the subconscious mind, your habits, your characteristics that are programmed within your subconscious mind. Ochosi, strategic planning, mathematics, and focus. Imaya is trance, meditation, dreams, and self-programming. Those are just some. There's more. Those are just some that I'm running off. That's important to understand because as a real self, as a true self, you do not worship anybody or anything externally. You do not grovel. You do not pay homage to anything external. Everything is existing within your mind. All is mind, mind is all. First principle of Tahuti, everything begins there. So you do not, as an individual, as the true self, worship anything outside of yourself. So the real self, the true self, no longer belongs to the mob psychology. Let's speak about the mob psychology, my peoples. What the hell is wrong with y'all in Black Panther? First of all, Black Panther is just a movie. No doubt, a good movie. But it's just a movie. You all come into the movie theaters as if you're going to a 5-star dinner banquet as a part of the movie Coming to America. Now, as a comic book fan, as a comic book reader and collector, as a sci-fi buff, I can understand if y'all coming there as cosplay, dressed because like it's cosplay. costume play, which is a part of what traditionally happens at MegaCon, Comic-Con, whatever in your area is called. That I could see. But y'all come in here like as if this is like really your culture. Listen, yes, African culture is a part of your culture and it's part of your history. I'm not negating that. I'm not putting that down. What I'm saying is you're coming to the movies as if this is some real live event. It's a fictitious character created, by the way, by two Caucasian men. One of them happened to be Stan Lee. Can't remember the second one's name. Way back in the 60s, they were inspired by the Black Panther group, which caused them to write the story. If you ever read some of the original comics, you would understand that. And they created a fictitious society, fictitious world of what African society, a small picture of African society. That's what comic books do. They tap into your imagination to create. Now, as far as Black Panther and the images that it portrays and the pride it portrays to the youth and the children to have a black superhero, I'm all for that, and I agree with all that. But let me correct some of the stupidity I've heard. Name a black superhero that doesn't have the word black in it. This is how you know when people are really comic book readers and collectors and when they just got down with the program. There's many. Blade happens to be one that quickly comes to mind. Spawn comes to mind. Storm comes to mind. Cyborg comes to mind. One of the original Green Lanterns was an African or black superhero. On and on and on. There's quite a few of them, actually. You may not be aware of that because your ass does not really research or has never been a part of this, and you're just part of the new fad of superhero movies that are being released, and you're caught up in it. And you're making blatant statements without any research. This is why I cannot stand ignorant people. Do not come forth and present something without research. Please. This is not the first black superhero movie. Way back in the 90s, Blade came out first. Spawn, Blade and Spawn were out in the 90s. Those were black superhero movies before Black Panther. Where were you guys at in the late 90s when Blade came out? And where was the support for Blade in the black superhero movie, the first black superhero movie that was released in America? Where were you guys at? Where? See, this is the problem with people. And I'm bringing this up because specifically mob psychology. Mob psychology is a mother. It's a total mother. And this is the stupidity of people. There's Falcon is a black superhero. The original Falcon was a black superhero. On and on and on. Anyways, in 1966, the Black Panther movie was, the Black Panther comic book was first released. So it was the first black superhero comic. I didn't say comic book. I said superhero movie. 1969, The Falcon was released. In 1972, Luke Cage, the comic book, was released. 1973, Blade was released. 1975, Storm was released. 1971, Green Lantern was released. which happens to be my birth year. 1977, Black Lightning was released. 1980, Cyborg was released. And there are quite a few others. Those are the comic book releases. The releases of comic books. Now, for the first 5 black superhero movies that came way before Black Panther. And I stand corrected because when I do my research, if I don't go far enough, I can make mistakes, and let me correct my mistake. The first black superhero movie was The Meteor Man, 1993, with Robert Townsend. That's the first black superhero movie ever released in America. Nobody was in an uproar about that. Nobody supported it like they did now. 1994, Blank Man came out with Damon Wayans. Though he was a klutzy, little foolish person in it, it was still a superhero movie. 1997, Steel came out with Shaquille O'Neal playing in that. Yeah, go figure. 1997, Spawn came out. 1998 to 2004, the Blade trilogy came out. I stand corrected. So there were 4 superhero movies before Blade came out. Black superhero movies before Blade came out. No one went in an uproar and supported it like y'all doing now. But I understand why this is happening. The mob psychology is very serious, very vicious. Because they have the fictitious land known as Wakanda, which is symbolic of Africa. You guys go crazy. Mob psychology. You go crazy in that aspect because, oh, it's depicting Africa and it's, oh, this is beautiful and it, listen. It's still a fictitious land and it's not real. If you paid attention, paid attention to the movie, you see that there's tribal dissension and tribal conflicts even in the movie that still exist to today. They still exist to this day. There is no unity, my people. Unity will never exist amongst melanated people because of the tribal DNA that exists within you. You guys are creating a fictitious fairy tale in your minds. And that's against the law of nature. One of the basic laws of nature is survival, self-preservation. And the third one is this: predator versus prey. You always have the predator who will consume the prey. And exists to this day. Period. It exists to this day. And prior to this movie, Black Panther, Blade was the most successful black superhero movie at the time. There were 4 before Blade. However, Blade was the most successful financially at the box office than all the others. But let's discuss this mob psychology. So Black Panther comes out, depicts Africa and everything else. People go in an uproar. They want to come out dressed in their African garb. That's all dandy. That's all lovely. For cosplay, I could understand it. But just for a movie coming out like that, you guys would act like God came down to earth. Jesus walked down earth. A black Messiah was born. Please. Cut it out. Now, everybody came in an uproar. Oh, I'm going to dress in my African garb. Here comes the mob psychology. Everybody wants to do the same. People are playing drums outside of the movie. Really? It's a movie, folks. Cosplay, I can understand. But dress like as if this is some real live event where some key figure is presenting itself is stupidity to me. Let me tell you why it's stupidity. First of all, sure, it was a black director, black cast. Profound. No doubt. Black superhero. Ain't the first one. 5 before Black Panther. And all the other trimmings that make you guys happy. But who gets really paid? First of all, most of the directors, actors, actresses, stuntmen are already paid before the movie comes out. They already signed a contract. They get paid before the movie comes out. Some of them get additional royalties based upon the movie, which is small royalties, not a big amount, but it's significant enough where you can continue getting paid off of this. Understood. But the bulk of your money was given to you before the movie came out. So who's really getting paid? The director. He got his sum of money too. He gets a royal percentage for here on out. But he got his money before the movie came out. Marvel Universe Studios. Marvel Universe. Owned by a Caucasian. What else? Who else? Come on, people. Think about it. Yeah. Disney. They're the ones who are getting the money. So while you guys are breaking records, setting records, you're setting it for Caucasians' pockets, making Caucasians' pockets fat. Now here's the mob psychology. The mob psychology will promote black love, black beauty, black pride, and black business, support black business. At the same time, you contradict yourself because you're going to a Caucasian established entertainment centers known as theaters. Most of them are Caucasian owned. You go to their concession stands, which is mostly supplied by Caucasian businesses, and you buy your popcorns and your Cokes and your Sprites and whatever else. And don't tell me some of y'all didn't buy food, because that's bullcrap. And you set records of over 200 million, broke records of all kinds, and you didn't get 1 cent of that circulating in the black community. Not 1 cent. You could tell me, otherwise you could argue, you could say, listen, contradiction. Because you'll say black business, let's support black business, let's do this, let's do that, but you quickly forget when you're throwing some crumbs on Black History Month, no doubt. You quickly forget all of that pro-blackness, support black businesses, everything else. And what do? You run right to the white man and give him your money. Straight contradiction. That's called mob psychology. That's called enslaving of the mind, brainwashing and control. I throw you some crumbs, make you happy, and you forget for that moment all of the abuses, all of the crap that's been happening to our people, and you go haywire ballistic in your head for a movie, which most of y'all are not comic book fans, superhero fans, none of that. Cut it out. And you support it, and they get paid off you. Mob psychology. That's called group mentality. That's called sheep mentality. And all you so-called pro-black, super conscious Negroes should be ashamed of yourself. Now, I'm not telling you to go watch the movie, because I love movies. And I'm not caught up in the pro-black, super conscious, etc. movement. That was in the past. I did that. My point is, you contradict yourself when you're always about this black pride, black power, but you forget that the money's going to somebody other than your own people. I understand the pageantry, the beauty of seeing your culture displayed on video. On a movie screen. That's beautiful. I understand that it's a great image for your children to see because they don't see this that much. But you fools are stupid if you think that that's the first black superhero ever presented on screen. When you could go back and show your children Blade as a superhero. You could show them Spawn as a superhero. Steel as a superhero. Meteor Man as a superhero. So you could show them these things. But you refuse to do in-depth research and find out this isn't the first. And you go around talking and sharing wrong information. And when you really analyze the movie, most of the time the villain, the adversary, is speaking the truth. But you guys want to be so fluffy and loving and caring, peace, love, and light crap. You don't hear the truth, and you're caught up in the lies that are shared within those movies of the passiveness of T'Challa, Black Panther, instead of listening to Eric Killmonger and the straight raw power and chaos and straight divine masculine warrior energy that he is promoting and sharing, the knowledge that he shares in there. Y'all refuse to really see that. Some of y'all caught it, no doubt, because I see some people circulating that information. But a lot of y'all are still idiots. I don't care if y'all get mad, get upset, I don't know what I'm talking about. Listen. Quick history, quick pro quo. Quick history. Some of y'all may be new listeners, so I'll review this for some of y'all. I started traveling the conscious path in 1989. Was attracted to it in 1987 when I heard a song by KRS-One, You Must Learn. Then there was a lot of 5% doctrine being taught in hip-hop at that time by different groups: Poor Righteous Teacher, King Sun, Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, on and on and on. So, this was out. And it attracted me to consciousness. It attracted me because in the environment I grew up in, the Bronx, my neighborhood was mostly Puerto Rican, African American, Jamaicans, some Trinis, some other areas from the Caribbean represented. I didn't see this no different. When I moved to Hartford, Connecticut, didn't see it no different. Same thing, black, Puerto Ricans, Jamaicans, Haitians, Trinidad, whatever. That's what I grew up with. And I grew up with seeing a lot of the similarities instead of differences between our people. I saw the music all was generated and focused on a drum beat somewhere, somehow. I see the hit movements of our dances. I see the rice and beans or rice and peas of our food. I see the spices and the way the food is prepared and the tastes that are similar. I see some of the characteristics, cultural characteristics are similar. I see no different. I saw all the same. Then along comes, I get attracted to the 5% Nation, get down with that. Got him attracted to the Ansar Allah, get down with that. Along that path, learned Islam, Christianity, Judaism from the inside out. Then 5% was still running concurrently with that. Then got into Freemasonry, Shrindom, studied the Moorish doctrine. Then got reconnected, but before all that, when I was young, my family was Seventh-day Adventist. My grandmother was into Santeria, Palo, and what is called Sansi. Sansi is a voodoo version of the Haitian voodoo that came to Puerto Rico way back in the 1700s. That was there. My grandmother used to do some rituals when I was there, so that was always there. So in my later age, in 1998 or so, I got attracted back into witchcraft, magic, santeria, things of that nature. Got initiated into santeria. Got crowned Obatala about 2003, 2004. Rode with that for some years. Kept studying the occult deeper and deeper and deeper. This was all since the 90s now. And during that time, when I was into more of the pro-black movement, I belonged to Black Watch of X-Clan. I was a part of the Young Lords, the rebirth of the Young Lords in New York City, which was a Puerto Rican version of the Black Panther Party. It's part of Universal Zulu Nation and Hip Hop, more of the activist side of Zulu Nation and Hip Hop. I did the protesting, I did the marching, did all of that. Throughout those years in my early childhood, I met police brutality. There was a time my mom had to come out and she almost went ballistic on these cops because they pulled me over when she ran into the hotel to get a hotel for the fam. She had me sit there watching the car, and these idiot Caucasian cops thought I was trying to steal the car when that was our car. So when my mom come out, they had me at gunpoint on my knees, and she went ballistic on their ass. Imagine that. It wasn't the first time I was felt the heat of police stupidity. There's other times that they snatch me up because I'm walking down the street, throw me in the back seat, threaten me. Some of them even put their hands on me. I went through all that. Let me tell you something. I experienced all that. I understand white supremacy from inside out. I done experienced it from inside out. I understand police brutality from inside out. I understand racism from inside out, discrimination from inside out, prejudice from inside out. But one thing I realized is that in all my years with this unity, with this black organizations, with these Puerto Rican organizations, with this movement of pride and love for yourself as a Puerto Rican or African American or whatever, it never changed. The same rhetoric you guys are kicking now in 2018 is the same crap I heard way back in the late 80s, 90s, 2000, 2010. It ain't nothing changed. There's no more unity than there was back then. There is no more progression or movement than it has been back then. And it dawned on me why. Mob psychology. When you think like a group, you move like a group, you become easy target to destroy. All I have to do is study the mob psychology, the group mentality, group psychology, and I can easily infiltrate it or destroy it from the outside or the inside. And when you all showed up there at these movie theaters, if they really wanted to make a statement of white supremacy, one of these white supremacist groups could have gone up into the movie theater and shot the place up while all y'all there celebrating and watching this movie. It's that easy because mob psychology leads you to follow the crowd. It leads you to follow people and not really think for yourself. You may think you're thinking for yourself if you're in this pro-black movement, if you're in this black supremacy movement, or you're in this black love movement. You really think you're thinking for yourself. You're not. What you're doing is following the rhetoric that was laid down before you, and now you're just continuing. You may add a little here and there, but you're still continuing the same rhetoric and still under mind control, slave control, and you are still mentally enslaved. For the one fact that I started this video with, you do not stand as an individual. You are still caught up in the mob psychology and easily controlled. So, he or she no longer belongs to the mob psychology when you stand as an individual. He or she will not be superstitious. Boy, I tell you, that superstition is a mother effer. This is one of the reasons why I don't belong to any African traditional religions or groups. Y'all some super stupid-stitious people. And I call it stupid-stitious for a reason. When you tell me that if I don't give a fruit, Obatala is mad at me, you a goddamn fool. Oh, look, Obatala ate the fruit. You're a goddamn fool. Obatala didn't do shit. That's called decomposition or decomposing, which bacteria naturally breaks down that fruit. Obatala didn't eat, Oshun didn't eat, Ochosi didn't eat, Ogun didn't eat, Shango didn't eat. Nobody ate. It was bacteria, you fools. Wake the hell up, people. Superstition is so prevalent in our melanated communities that it makes me sick, and you all are so easily controlled. Everything is, if God wills. Nah, fool, what about if you will? Where's your will? Your will, or inshallah. What is your will? Where's your strength? Or when I watch a football player, no doubt, Odell Beckham plays for the Giants, my favorite team. Great player. But when I hear him make stupid statements like, well, first of all, I want to thank God. Listen, fool. It wasn't God who caught the touchdown. It wasn't God who made your feet run. Okay? It wasn't God who dodged the tacklers. It was you. You did that with your own will, determination, and power. So what the hell is up with the superstitious, stupidstitious mentality? He or she cannot be exploited anymore. And he or she cannot be led like cattle to the slaughter. He or she cannot be ordered and commanded. He or she will live according to his own intellect. He or she will live from his or her own inwardness. His or her life will have tremendous beauty and integrity. But that is the fear of society. Society fears you. Fears you standing on your own 2 feet. Fears you being your own master. Fears you being your own God and determining your own fate. The cure for our melanated problem, the cure for the black problem, the cure for the Puerto Rican problem, the cure for any of our people's problems is stop thinking that you're going to unite in some fairy tale love and unity fashion. You start to manifest your own strength and potential as your own God. That's the cure. Be your own master. That's the cure. You are the only God. That is the cure. When that mentality seeps in and you start to live it, you start to realize there's nothing external that is really dictating your life. There's nothing external that is helping you. You are doing all the work. Whether you're doing a ritual for money, you did the work. You don't need to call on a god, a goddess, and all this orishas and netaru to bring forth or manifest money. Because your own will, your own desire can propel that request into the astral realm to make it manifest into the physical. You have that power. No one else. You. You have that power to hone your skills to be the best wide receiver and catch touchdowns and make amazing catches like Odell Beckham. Or you could be like Giancarlo Stanton for the New York Yankees and hit 59 home runs while he was with the Marlins last year. Or you could be like Diddy and become one of the greatest producers of music, businessmen who's worth $820 million and gonna be soon a billionaire. Or you can be like many others, Oprah Winfrey, who took entertainment to another level and is a billionaire. Or you could be one of the newest young generation of doctors and scientists and lawyers to make a difference. That is the real self, the power and determination to make that happen. God didn't do a damn thing for you. You did it all because you are the only God. That left-hand path mentality is the cure for the black problem. When you really, as melanated people, start to take a stand and become gods in your own right, then starts the chain reaction. You become a god, this person becomes a god. You don't worship or grovel each other, but you stand equally as gods because you are master yourself and you are determined within yourself and you can move forward in true unity. The reason unity doesn't exist and cannot exist is because you can have a group and somebody's weaknesses, insecurities, deficiencies are always going to manifest to cause dissension in the group and break a group apart. On the left-hand path, you master your weaknesses. You take your weaknesses and learn how to turn them into a strength. You don't ignore them, meditate them away, chant them away, go up into the Himalayan mountains, cross-legged, without showering, ass stinking, thinking that you're going to elevate and reach some nirvana. It's serious work to get there. This work is something that is daily. I do this work every day on myself. I take inventory on myself every day. Some things I like because I'm progressing. Other things I get angry with, and I keep focusing on that area that I need to work on. That is what a real person who loves and truly is connected to the true self does. Not some superficial, I'm African, I'm Nigerian, I'm Yoruba, I'm Igbo, thousands and thousands of tribes. I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Dominican, I'm Haitian, I'm African American, all stupidity. No doubt, be proud of your culture, be proud of your nationality, be proud of your descendancy, be proud of all of that. Not negating that. I'm very proud of my African heritage. I'm very proud of my Taino heritage. Not so proud of the Spaniard, although I accept that and embrace that as well, because them efforts were rapists, murderers, killers, and oppressors. And they forced me to speak Spanish and everything else. No doubt. But I still accept that as a part of my DNA. And because I accept that and I understand that, I don't let that that oppressive, colonist, dictator side rule me. Because I am my own master and I understand it. Some of y'all may be into Santeria and are from somewhere else in Africa. You could be from East Africa, not even realize it, practicing the wrong tradition. And then wonder why stuff don't work for you. That's not in your DNA. We're not all from the Yoruba tribe. Okay? Some of us are from the Akan. Some of us may even be from Zulu tribes. There was mass migrations in Africa from the tribes, and some of them ended up in different areas regardless where their origin was from. See, I know my tribes. I can't stand when people tell me, oh, they know all this about themselves and I'm African. Yeah, where, buddy? We're from Africa. You can go get an African ancestry DNA test to find out exactly what tribes you come from. Tribe or tribes. My main tribe is, yes, Yoruba and Congo from the Mabuti, which are pygmies, tribe from the Congo, are equally in my percentage. Then come the Akan from Ghana. That's my 3 tribes. I know that from DNA, from taking my DNA. Y'all could do the same instead of just generalizing, we're all from Kemet. No, you're not. You may have been from Kemet thousands of years ago, and your tribe might have migrated from Kemet, but they are in West Africa. And when some of us were stripped away and stolen from that land, we were more of the West African heritage and have been there for 1,000 years or so, way before we're connected to Kemet. Some of us were here in the West already as Africans who had migrated here. Some of us were born here when the continents divided. And then Asians came in here and mixed in, creating your modern day Native Americans. So some of us are still the original people that were here. That's fine. That's still superficial. That's good to know. Pride of yourself, of what your ancestry is, your bloodline. That's good to know. That's good. But that's still step one. That's superficial. To know the real self is to know your programming. Your family, how they programmed you, your culture, how they programmed you, your society, how they programmed you, your religion, how they programmed you, and how it affects you and governs your life today. Superficial, as I was saying. It's all superficial. Layer, outside layer, a little lower than the layer, a little lower than the surface, but you're still really dealing with not going deep enough. To know the true self, you must deal with your weaknesses. Your programmings, like I said, your weaknesses, your insecurities, your wounds, your traumas, and you must go deep into it, not just superficial layer. You must go deep into it. You don't just discover the problem, you solve the problem. That's when you really start to know the true self and master it. One of my biggest issues growing up, and I'm going to give you an example of what I mean, was my anger. I have a warrior-like nature. I have a Shango Ogun type nature. Although my crown was Obatala, I was Obatala of the warrior, which is Obatala Ayangu. And that nature comes out. And it used to come out really bad when I was young. I used to go into a rage and a warrior type energy would take over, and I was quick to defend myself. See, I'm very calm, but I do not, and still to this day, do not accept or like disrespect. That will set me off, and the warrior nature will come out, and I'm quick to defend myself and destroy you. So I had to learn how to really master that emotion of anger. And it was working through Sekhmet, the lady of rage, the lady of anger, the lady of destruction and devouring. That archetype, the symbolism of that archetype, and how she would go into a rage and her energy would just consume her, and she would take over and devour humans and anything else in her path. That's when I learned, when working through that archetype. Using that archetype, I looked at the statue, I did a ritual invoking that energy. And it came to me in meditation after the ritual. Anger is not bad. Anger channeled is better than anger unleashed. So I learned from that moment forth how to channel my anger to something beneficial for my growth. That's the change that took place. That's how working on a left-hand path can bring you to the level of self-mastery, self-determination, self-awareness, self-control, and self-empowerment. Because working with that archetype, it triggered the subconscious parts of myself that has the same characteristics as Sekhmet. The same exact potentials and powers came forth. And it was like I all of a sudden remembered. I'm a warrior, but warriors remain calm. Warriors are not aggressive. I'm not talking about soldiers. That's different. Soldiers under someone's program and control and quickly can be activated through that program to destroy other people. I'm talking about a warrior. A warrior usually is calm, cool, and collected until provoked, and in self-defense, the warrior will destroy. Watch martial arts movies. You'll see like most of these martial arts masters are very calm, cool, and collected until you provoke them to the point where they have to defend themselves. Then they will destroy you. So I learned through that. That was one of my weaknesses. Now it is a strength. Because I use that anger when I feel like I'm procrastinating, being lazy, or not getting the job done. I use that anger to get the job done. and move forward till I master that. That is how the left-hand path works for you. That is how the left-hand path can help you master yourself. Now imagine if we get 1,000 people, just a simple example, 1,000 people who have mastered themselves and mastered their emotions, their weaknesses, their insecurities, their doubts. And you can't control these people. You can't activate their superstition. They have none. They've overcome their superstitions. You can't activate religious mentality and try to say God will punish you, the devil. They've mastered that because they broke all the lies and the belief systems about that. You can't make them feel inferior because they mastered in themselves who they are, what they are, where they're from, and who they are to be. You can't get that. So I cannot be controlled by society. I cannot be programmed any further by society. I cannot be used by society. I cannot be a sheep led or like cattle led to the slaughter. And now there's 1,000 of us. You see the danger we become to society? When it's easy, you guys are easily targets when you go with this mob psychology and everybody goes to the theaters dressed African, acting African, being African. Though most of us are not really from Africa in our recent descendancy. Some are. We're more 300, 400, 500 years back. And we're not even proud of what we created here. Our African culture here. Our Taino, our Choctaw, Chickasaw, whatever culture here. We created jazz music here. Blues music here. Salsa here. Bomba here. Plena here. We created reggaeton here. Dancehall reggae here. Roots reggae here. We created hip hop here. R&B here. We created dances here. Movements and dances here. We created linguistic styles here. Be proud of where you're from first before you always run to Africa. No doubt, I know my descendancy, I know my region, I'm proud of that. But I'm here now, and I embrace what we created here now. That's why I joined something years ago, because I was like, yo, our people made this Yoda bus survive even through slavery, even through Catholicism. We found a way to make it survive. That's something to be proud of now. Hoodoo survived in the South. Here. Voodoo, Voodoo in Haiti came here to America. Here. Do you understand me? Palo Mayembe. Here. We did all this here, but we're always looking there. Yes, that's our origin. That's our ancestry. That's where we come from. But we have to be proud of what we created here. You're existing here now. You created things here now to survive. Things that would help you elevate, grow, transform here. Embrace it. Love it. This is yours here. You can practice and get with Kemetic traditions, but modernize it and bring it up to today here. You're existing now. That is why the real self is dangerous. The true self is dangerous to society and culture. They cannot be programmed and controlled anymore. There are masters over self. You want to really get mastery over yourself? First things first. Take an inventory of your weaknesses, and please do not tell me you don't have weaknesses, insecurities, doubts. Everybody has them. As long as you've been living on this planet, you have something. Find out what it is. Then find out what archetypes are best suited or utilized for that working. Yes, my last video I said gods don't exist, goddesses don't exist. Still 100% correct. You're not worshiping or groveling the god or goddess. You're not invoking the god or goddess as if it's real. What you're doing is you're tapping into the symbolism of the archetype, the symbolism of the god or goddess that is resonating with your latent powers, potentials, and characteristics, and activating it through that symbolism. So once you find out you take your inventory, you find out your weaknesses, then connect with that archetype and do a ritual. And please do not grovel in the ritual and say, "Oh, hail Sekhmet, thou art the greatest." Fuck that bullshit. This is what I do. This is only my example. You got to find your own way. I say, "I am Sekhmet. I bring forth rage, anger, devouring power, potential. I am Sekhmet. I master my emotions. I master my weaknesses. I bring forth my potential as a warrior. I am Sekhmet." And I keep saying it to my subconscious mind, activates those latent qualities, potentials. And I do this over and over in several different rituals, however long it takes. That's a way to work it. You got to find your own way. Be the master, people. Stop worshiping, groveling. Stop being mob psychology, group psychology, following the groups, thinking, "Oh, yeah, Black Panther, we're all going to do the same thing." This ain't just people in America. Puerto Ricans did it in Puerto Rico. People in Kenya did it when the movie was released there. They did it all over the planet. That's group psychology. There's a problem there, people. If I'm a person who oppressing the world or destroying the world, if I see that mentality and the reaction I can get off of people, I see you're still a slave. I can do anything I want to you. I see the mental slavery. I see the group psychology. I can do anything I want to you. It's a bigger program than that, y'all. It's always been bigger than race. Race is a part, excuse me. Race is a part of the tools used to keep you a part of the rat race, a part of the sheep mentality, the cattle mentality. And you fall for it every time. The white supremacists ain't no different than the black supremacists. Y'all both ignorant, and y'all both being controlled, and y'all both a part of the plan and the tool used to cause more dissension, more hatred, more control. If I can get you to react, and I get everybody to react to the Black Panther movie, I see that the black mob psychology still exists. The Hispanic mob psychology still exists, or whatever y'all want to call yourself. I can see it. And if I see it and I get that reaction, I can quickly slide something right in and around that time of the movie, after or so, and people will react, and I got you right back where I want you. As a pickaninny slave doing the stupid things that we've done. I know my ancestor, my grandmother, specifically on her side, we had slaves. As not we owned slaves, that we were slaves. I know this for a fact because she told me the story. How her great-great-grandmother was a slave. Okay? I also know that some of our ancestors were maroons, or cimarrones as they say in Spanish, which were slaves who escaped from slavery, went up into the mountains for their freedom. I also know that. I also know that our Taino ancestors didn't just all bend over and take it up the ass without grease. That there was many warriors that fought the Spaniards in their oppression. That all exists within me. And this is why I cannot conform and follow people. This is not even how pro-black and how cultural and how beautiful it may seem to do these things, I just can't follow. I just can't be a part of the crowd because that is what they want. The picture is bigger than race, but race is utilized. Racism is utilized. Discrimination, prejudice, social classism, economics is all part of the game. As a person on the left-hand path, you learn to master yourself and be a master of yourself, bringing economic success, bringing physical success, health success. You bring it all because then you are prepared for whatever game they bring because you are master and control over yourself. And you get with like-minded individuals who've also done the work. They done the work. You've done the work. You stand there as guys. You don't grovel. You don't worship. You don't pray. You take action and control over your life. That's what being the God is all about. That's what real self is all about. That's how you work it on the left-hand path. Then you can move forward in true power over yourself. Y'all may get upset by some of this. I don't care. I was a part of the Black Power movement. I seen that from inside out. There ain't nothing you can shame me or change me about when it comes to that. I was a part of the pro-Puerto Rican movement. Inside out, y'all can't shame me or change me when it comes to that. I seen it. I was a part of it. All right? Those who know me know I don't give two shits about what people think. I don't care two craps about what your feelings are when it comes to me. I don't care two anythings when it comes to, oh, I don't agree or disagree. Or I disagree. I don't care. At this age, 46 years old, the path I walked since 1988, 89, you think I really going to give two craps what any of you fools say when I've seen things with my own eyes, experienced things with my own eyes, lived with my own eyes, and for most of my part did not believe, grovel, or worship anything? Even when I was in Santeria, I still didn't believe that shit. Obatala does this. Fuck out of here. Never did believe none of that crap. The whole time I was in Santeria, I was trying to master myself to be an Obatala, to be those characteristics, potentials, and qualities. Especially Obatala or Yanguna, the warrior. That's what I was doing. Working with Set, Satuf, being that Set or Satuf. That's what I've been doing. Not groveling, worshiping, and chasing, and praying, and hoping. A real master itself takes control of their life. Work it, people. Work it, work it, work it. Y'all want to get in touch with me? Reach me at darkcultist99@outlook.com. Been fun? Peace.